maybe to get started, we can go through just real quick and say our name and how old the house is that we live in, if you know. My name is Elizabeth Walker. I live in a 100-year-old apartment. A little bit more than 100 years old. You want to start over here?
John. We live in a 150 year old house.
There you go. Right.
I mean, same house.
Good. Yeah.
Oh.
I'm Valerie, and my house is about 130 years old.
Yeah.
I'm Gladys, and mine is about 100, whatever.
Whatever.
It's way over 100, I know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Sean, and mine is about 85.
Yeah.
My name is Minnie, and I'm sure it's over 100.
Yeah.
Maria, and I don't know, it's old.
It's old. Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah.
Michelle, and I'm not a homeowner. My younger sister is. I don't know how old the building is.
Yeah. Seems old.
You know what? Weirdly enough, it does. But some stuff has been
Upgrade.
updated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm Bob, and my house is 100 years old.
Yeah.
I'm Mandela, my house is about 60, 65 years old.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Sean. I'm Kathy, my house is about 100 years old.
Yeah.
I'm here again, and my house is 100 years old.
Yeah. There's some themes here.
Wow.
130. You know precisely.
134.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Good. I'm sorry. What was that?
My name's Cassandra, mine is about 10 years old. I have a baby house, I know it's about 45 years old.
Right.
Are you going by the building?
I'm Abby, and I live in a building that's probably over 100.
Yeah.
Vintage.
Yeah.
Vintage is
All right,
good.
so we've got some themes here. We live in Chicago, and they're old buildings, right? And oh my goodness, winter has come.
Yes.
So we're here to talk to you about weatherization today. This workshop is a part of our new home care series as a part of Habitat for Humanity. I know some faces in the room. I don't know everybody though, so there's probably varying levels of familiarity with Habitat for Humanity. So that sounds about right. So just real quickly, we're an affordable homeownership organization that focuses on community development. We work here in West Pullman. Sorry, we work here in Greater Grand Crossing. I was thinking West Pullman. I do know where I am. I
At least you
promise.
know the areas.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
We work here in Greater Grand Crossing, and then we also work in West Pullman. We build new homes in West Pullman, and we will be beginning to be building new homes in Greater Grand Crossing in the summer. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, we're excited to start here.
Wow.
They are single-family homes, and we built them to be affordable for the home buyers.
Great.
Our home buyers qualify based on a need for affordable homeownership, an ability to pay that affordable mortgage, and a willingness to partner in the process. This is a part of our belief that everyone deserves a decent place to live, but we know that goes beyond just the new residents of a neighborhood. We know there's a lot of passion and interest within the pool of current residents, and so we have been working to make sure that your aspirations and your needs can also be helped through some of the things that we do. So we have a neighborhood grants initiative, which is a small grants program that anyone as a resident or anyone who works in Greater Grand Crossing or West Pullman can be eligible for. It's small grants for physical or social improvement projects that involve a few residents. And then we have this workshop series. So, we're building these new homes, and then we keep hearing this theme over and over. My home is old. I have this that I don't know how to deal with, or I could really use some help on this. And while our construction team isn't big enough to physically make the improvements on kind of more than the new home construction right now, we thought, okay, well, let's start with some education and see if this is helpful. So thank you for being a part of this kind of new and pilot period with us. We wanted to start with weatherization because we know we have this housing stock of really old homes in Chicago that are amazing housing stock, but they could also use some love when it comes to thinking about how the weather outside is affecting them. we will be back once a quarter in Greater Grand Crossing with a new theme for this workshop. So the next time we'll be here is February, and the theme will be bathroom upgrades and repairs, maintenance and repairs. So thinking about things like how to keep your toilet and faucets healthy, how to reduce mold, maybe replacing tile, things like that. By virtue of coming to this workshop, you are on our interest list, and we'll let you know when we're coming, and bring a friend.
Nice.
Yeah. In the room we have Abby, who's our project developer. I'm Elizabeth. I'm associate director at Habitat Chicago. And we have Bob, who's one of our faithful volunteers. Bob is a lifelong, a very long time general contractor. He knows a ton about single-family homes. He suffered a stroke a few years ago, but he didn't want to stop sharing his knowledge, and so he's been helping us out on the educational side rather than the construction side. All right, so we're gonna do the introductions. That's good. Okay, so here's our agenda for today, and I should point out we have a lighting problem in the room. So this is the other option. So you guys let me know what works best. It's either you don't see me or you see the screen.
That's so nice.
If you
Yeah.
don't see me, I'm okay with not seeing you. All right, so this is our agenda for today. We're going to talk about what weatherization is and why we want to do it. We're going to talk about the difference between DIY weatherization efforts and professional weatherization efforts. We're going to go through some practical demonstrations where you're actually going to get to do some things and see the materials at hand. Then we'll come back together for a question and answer section. And then at the end, we'll do surveys and gift cards. Is that good?
Good.
Okay, great. So what is weatherization? The process of weatherization is really getting your home ready to function better when the weather changes. It's making sure that the energy use in your home is as efficient as possible when we think about the home as a whole system. We know that the heat affects the home, we know that the cold affects the home. So the weatherization is really taking the whole home into consideration as a system and trying to make it as tight and as efficient as possible. Really the common procedures around this are getting rid of leaks, right? Really focusing on leaks. You can also protect pipes, you can install insulation, and then there's a few other measures. So why would we weatherize a home? Any ideas?
To save on heating bills.
Save on heating bills.
Make the house more comfortable.
More
Yeah.
comfortable, absolutely. Any other ideas?
Leaks, air.
Yeah.
Keep out the air.
Nobody wants leaking air. Right, so here's some of them. We want energy savings, yes. We want comfort. Comfort, health, and well-being are pretty synonymous, right? We think about our home being healthy for us in addition to comfortable. It's also good for the environment because we're using less energy. So as stewards of the environment, we think about using less energy as environmental sustainable. And then because we're energy savings, we have more disposable income, right? All these are kind of fitting together. Another concept that kind of gets conflated with weatherization is energy efficiency. So we do a lot of energy efficiency measures as a part of weatherization, but energy efficiency can also take it a step further. So we think about what is energy efficiency? It's kind of the same idea. It's using less energy to produce better or the same results in your home. It's, again, a part of helping the environment, it's saving money, and then it's about reducing your energy bill. So we're going to be talking a lot about weatherization techniques, but also energy efficiency techniques when they overlap in here. All right, I think it's pop quiz time. Okay. So, did you know you were going to have a quiz today? Okay. What accounts for the most energy use in typical American homes? If you think about all the things that you put energy into, what do you think is the most?
Like energy?
Okay, electronics is a guess.
Using energy. Yeah, I would have to say electronics, like maybe the heating.
Heating's a guess. Okay. I know. So it is the heating. It's the heating and the cooling. Right now, typical American homes are using 48% of their energy use is going to heating and cooling alone. Electronics is certainly a big one also, especially as we are continuing to use more and more of electronics, right? That 48% is a little bit lower than a decade or so ago because we now have a little bit more efficient systems that people are installing into homes. Okay. Next question. does a typical US family spend on home utility bills per year? Wow.
600.
600? 4,000? 8,000?
A year. I'm guessing a year if you know how to budget. Yeah.
Yeah, in fairness,
I don't know,
I
it
had
might
no
be
idea
more
what the
than
answer to this one was until I saw it. Alright, so we've got around 2,200 here.
Who said 4,000?
You know, this varies dramatically depending on what type of home you have, how big your home is, etc. But it's significant.
Is that with air leakage when you're wasting a lot of heat?
Yeah, it takes stuff into account like that. But,
Okay.
you know, it's probably not as efficient as it could. So anything we can do to reduce this amount or whatever it is that you're paying is a win, right? Alright, next one. How much money can you save on average by switching to Energy Star appliances, etc.?
3,000.
30%.
30%, 3,000, 20. What the answer is?
About as much as you're paying in electricity.
How much, sorry? 50%. Okay, so in fairness, I don't have it in percentages. I have it in dollar amounts.
Oh,
So per product, around $750. Again, it varies a little bit per product, but over the lifetime of the product, each Energy Star product that you have is around $750 over conventional ones. All right, what are phantom loads?
Is that?
Some resources that you're not actively using.
Oh, wow.
Yes, we've got a winner here. Yes.
Wow.
Okay. Well, yeah.
That's
So when
what
television
like
is off.
phantom. Oh, so it's using even though it's plugged in, it's still
That's
taking
right.
the energy. That's what. Okay.
So when you have something that is off, an appliance or electronic item that is turned off, you're not using it at all.
Still taking up
It's still
phantom.
taking energy,
Ah,
and that's
okay.
called phantom load. Let's see if I've got it. Almost 10%. Is this right? Yeah. Almost 10% of residential electric is featured into phantom loads. So having those little breakers that you can turn on and off can be a win on getting rid of phantom loads. Okay, what is an energy audit or an energy assessment?
When you have someone come out and they look at the various systems in your home, you figure out not only what you're using, but how you can more efficiently use it, what products can possibly be brought in to change the outcome.
That's
Yep,
perfect.
that's what I yep.
All right, everyone hear that?
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So it is
Because CEDA does it.
usually a professional who does that. You can also find guides online to do it yourself if you don't want a professional come out. But it's exactly that. They come out, they assess everything from your energy bill to the poles to the type of lights you're using, and then help you understand. It's not the point that they're doing, it's just the point that they're saying this is something that you might want to consider.
You have links to different people that can do that?
Indeed, we do. That's actually later in the presentation. So yeah. All right. So we talked a little bit about that 50% or that 48% mark of heating and cooling. This is a chart of what we actually use for energy within our home. You can see that space heating and water heating is just a huge percent of so between cooling, space heating, and water heating, it's just a huge percent. And then the other things matter, but they're in there, right?
Yeah.
And so when we're talking about weatherization and energy efficiency, we're focusing on these three big buckets there. These are the ones that we really want to make sure are as efficient as possible in your home. And when we think about it, we think about it in this context, this home as a system. So sometimes it's easy to think, well, I need just this one fancy thing that's going to make it better, right? But we know our home it relies on the whole structure of the home to be the system that it is. So there are lots of holes in any given home, and the holes that are closer to the bottom are going to let cool air in, and the holes that are close to the top are going to let hot air out. And this is true for both winter and summer. And so we're going to be focusing on how we mitigate all these different areas that air could come in or air could escape from. And with that, we're on to DIY. Okay. Thank you, Elizabeth. Great introduction to energy efficiency as it relates to the home. As you saw in that chart, there are a lot of different areas of the home and a lot of different parts working together, right, to make up your energy usage. And so these are some of the quick wins. These are the easy things that you can do in a day to increase the energy efficiency of your home as well as the weatherization. So as Elizabeth mentioned, there are a lot of things you can do to increase energy efficiency as a whole, right? And weatherization being a part of that. So lighting, right? Light bulb goes out, you replace it, you have an energy efficient bulb. That bulb is gonna last a lot longer and it's gonna cost a lot less money to run over its life. Then we have water fixtures. That's replacing your faucets and your shower heads with low flow aerators that are maintaining the amount of pressure coming out. So you have your water pressure, but there's more air in it. So you're using less water, you're using less gallons per minute that's flowing out of your faucet. So that's reducing it from anything as high as 4 or 5 gallons per minute down to some of the most water efficient faucets being 1.5 gallons. Right, so and again, that's a range of
You
what,
call
how
it,
much.
What do you
you
call
call it low flow?
Yeah, low flow, 1.5 gallons per minute faucet aerators. And we're also going to be going over all of these measures when we get into the demonstration part, so you'll have a chance to take a look at these items, all of these items on the screen, and get your hands on them and kind of ask more questions about them as well.
And you mentioned low flow toilets.
Yes.
And is there really that much difference in the flow for solid versus liquid waste? And is it worth the upgrade price to bring in a 2-flush system?
Yeah, it totally depends, I think, on what kind of toilet you have now and what you would be getting and how much you use it and if you're using it right, because you see a lot of toilets and they have the 2 different ones.
Everybody just hits the main.
And you just hit the one, right? So that depends. I don't know off the top of my head, what the difference in the gallon usage is in the low flow or the solid versus versus liquid. But I can get back to you on that. Do you have any idea there? Okay. So then moving up this, we have window insulation film. Again, these are easy measures that you can do in a day. The window insulation film is going to stop that cold air from coming in through your windows. And we'll go into more of that later. Again, pipe insulation, that's insulating your pipe with either foam or tape. And that is, we all know that Chicago winters get very cold.
Yes.
And we want to be taking care of our pipes.
Polar
And then sealing
vortex.
cracks and gaps. And yes.
The pipe, the hydrant, from up under the porch, it busts every year. Should I leave some water on or cut it completely off?
So it is said that if you leave it at a drip, flowing water is harder to freeze.
Oh,
So that's
a
why
water
people
bill
tell you to
high.
put your faucets on a drip
But,
when it gets really cold. But yes.
but what she's talking about, you should probably turn the water off to it.
Yeah, I do, inside, yeah.
Yeah, inside, yeah.
It busts anyway.
Best
You
thing.
should leave it out before you turn it
I
off.
don't know.
Oh.
I would turn it off on the inside and open it up on the outside.
Oh, open it up outside.
Yes,
Oh.
yes, yes.
One
Oh.
way to go out, so there's no water in the system.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay,
you.
wow.
Yeah.
Good question.
It was.
Wonderful.
Yes, it was.
Yes.
Yeah. And we also will have a Q&A session at the end as well. So if you guys have questions that come up, you can also write them down and we'll have a lot of time there. So sealing cracks and gaps. Again, this is one of the most comprehensive things you can do all around your home to make sure that cold air is staying out and warm air is staying in. So we've got some pictures up here of some very common areas, especially around windows and doors. Now these are not only actual holes in your house, but they usually get frequent use, right? So they're one of the first places that you want to look when you're looking to seal up areas. So cracks around the window pane, at the bottom and on the sides, under the doors, near sliding doors, on the side of the trim, right there. And then if you have a door, you can get various door sweeps. Those are things that you can either stick on it. It's a long flat panel, that ones with actual bristles that sweep, or ones like this that you just slide on, and that stops air from coming under the door. So those are really helpful. And then on a lot of doors, you have this weather stripping. It's this thick piece of foam that's all around the inside of your doors and a lot of windows. And that wears over time. So either putting it on if it's not there or replacing it can really help create a cushion that stops air.
Is foam better than the traditional felt?
That's an excellent question. Bob?
No, I don't know. I really don't know. I would say that trying the foam is probably better because it's, new. And, yeah, I would say that it is.
I think foam holds up longer.
Yeah.
Is that caulk?
Yes, and so
That's the regular caulk?
this is using caulk and sealant, and again, we'll go over those a little
Okay.
bit more. We'll have a
Okay.
demonstration on
I thought it was that
boxes.
glue gun.
So now you may have bigger holes and gaps that you see, and that's really hard to fill with sealant, right? Because it's like this big area, and you'd end up using a whole tube. So what you can do is use backer rod, and that's a piece of foam. It's a circular piece of foam. Again, this will be in the demonstration at one of the tables, but it's a circular piece of foam that you put into the crack, and it creates this stabilizing back for you then to put the sealant on top of. And so it makes it a little bit more movable, and it gives the sealant something to hold onto and stabilize it. So you can put that into the gaps and then seal over it for bigger gaps. Again, it's called backer rod. Now, other areas of the home, you might notice one common way that you can detect air leaks too is either with a match or with some incense, something that has smoke where you can see air coming out. So you may want to look for some more hidden areas, right? If you're doing your own energy assessment, that's kind of going around your windows, seeing where the drafts are, but then also in these more hidden areas. So you've got places like under your sinks, around plumbing, you've got behind your outlets. Again, that will be as part of a demonstration. Sealing your ducts with special caulk for that. And then put in weather stripping around your attic and your crawl space doors. Again, something you might not see, but it helps reduce the amount of air coming through there. And then other areas in your attic, there's a lot of small holes in your attic. And if you're looking to insulate your home or change the insulation or add new insulation, you want to make sure that those holes are being sealed first before putting insulation on them. To really reduce as much of the airflow as possible. So you may be wondering, okay, so are there any resources for getting some of these products? And there are. Habitat for Humanity has a restore, and that's located in Saginaw, it's 64 North Pulaski, but it's an affordable home improvement store. We get donations from individuals and organizations, and we're able to provide home improvement goods at very affordable and low prices.
Yeah, I was just in the store.
I like that store.
Weeks ago, and I can't believe that the prices on things and the things that are in there.
They got
that
really
people
nice stuff.
donate,
Yeah.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
The number of items that are.
They do.
Good.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
Do we have that information in this?
I believe it is in
It's in here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on the tools and materials
Yeah.
resource section.
I thought there was also another habitat recommended restore.
It's in Chicago Heights. In Chicago Heights.
Yes, Chicago Heights. And we only manage the Chicago restore, but yes, that one is close.
Maybe closer.
Yeah. Yeah, so definitely if you guys type in, onto the Google,
Habitat
you'll find
Chicago
Habitat
Restore.
Chicago,
Yep.
Habitat for
Let's
Humanity
see.
Restore. You may
Restore.
find one
Yeah.
that's closer if you live on the south side.
Those the only two though.
Yes, in this area.
Yep.
There are more in the suburbs as well.
Yeah.
And then if you do choose to go with an energy assessment from a company, which again, I'll go over that more a little bit later what that means, but they will offer free and discounted products,
Yeah.
Especially for income eligible people and residents that do the energy assessments. The companies will provide a lot of products, especially things like lights and power strips and some more of those energy efficiency specific products. So that's an option as well. And then if you're looking to do anything around appliances or even lighting and lots of different areas around the home, it's good to go to rebate finders. Again, those are in the resource packets. And just type in your area code and it will show you all of the rebates available to you for different products. And then generally, home improvement stores, you can go and there are whole aisles for weatherization and different things to improve energy efficiency around the home. So with that being said, we're going to go into some more of those professional services that we talked about, things like insulation and for appliances, windows, all of these fun things. So with that, I will pass it back over to Elizabeth. I'm going to show you a video on the assessments. That's how it works.
What's it say?
Oh,
Sure.
yes. I won't know how to do this.
Yeah, here. I'm not sure I'm on the one.
That's weird.
Don't look away from the screen.
If you click on the link.
Okay.
Well, then we're just gonna talk about it. Okay.
All right.
I'll send you a link to the video.
Yeah, we can do that.
Let's see.
So it was just a kind of like quick overview to get some visuals of what the assessment might look like. But like we talked about before, the assessment on a professional level is calling up an organization and asking for someone to come out and do an assessment of your home. They will spend 2 to 3 hours at your home and they will do probably a blower door test, then they do infrared scanning, they'll walk around your home, they'll look at all different holes, and then they'll give you a written report on what it is that could be improved. The step one are a few options in Chicago, and they're all really good options. So if you are a resident of ComEd or People's Gas, which most people are, they offer free energy assessments. If after the energy assessments, they will also offer free or low cost resources or materials for your use. Elevate Energy is a nonprofit in Chicago. They're a great nonprofit. And if you are a homeowner or a renter in Chicago, then you can go out to their site and ask for an energy assessment also. They don't, as far as I know, do they have follow-up services afterwards?
They will direct you to resources.
They'll direct you to resources, yeah. And then the last one is Chicago Bungalow Association. It's a little bit misleading because it's not just for bungalows. It is for any home that's over 50 years old. So congratulations, everyone except for me. Sorry. It takes a little while to get on their list, but they're a really good one to get on because they then also will follow up with free resources or even services if you're income eligible. So these are all options. They are in your resources list. So you would go to their website. They all have forms. You can call them also, but just get on their list. And then you'll work with them to schedule your appointment. And again, they'll come out for a few hours. You have to be there during the audit. And then you'll have a pretty good idea of what your home may need to become more efficient. You don't have to do everything the assessment says, right? This is where we start weighing like what is priority, what is financially possible. So some of the things you may discover are that you can go back to the DIY stuff and say, I can fill in leaks, I can do things like that. But now we're going to run through some of the professional services that they may recommend or that you may already know that you need in your home. So the first one is around home insulation. So if it's recommended or if you know it's needed, we're looking at increasing or replacing the insulation in your attic, the walls, crawl space. And so we're trying to temperature insulate against the outside temperature. The benefits of this is really the same as energy efficiency. You're reducing your heat loss, and so you're increasing your comfort. Or you're reducing your cool loss if we're talking about summer, and so you're increasing your comfort. Typically, if you can get your insulation up to optimal levels, you're looking at around a 15% annual savings. And again, this varies a lot depending on what your home is now and where you're starting from. But it is a really good place to start, and especially in the attic, because we can all access our attics. They may find that your walls need insulation also, and in that case, it usually is only a professional service that can do that because they need to get behind the drywall. But for the attic, you may be able to do it, or you could have a professional come out, and it'll be less expensive than breaking into your walls. And so we're looking at $1,000 to $2,000. Typically, but again, it depends on everything. They may lay insulation, they may do blown insulation. A professional will really be able to help you understand what is the amount that you need. We talk a lot about R values when we're talking about insulation, and an R value is the ability to suppress heat transfer. And so the higher the R value on something, the more it will insulate you against weather. But our value is usually dictated by the climate that you're in. So in Chicago, and you know we're in a specific climate that has this type of summer and this type of winter. And so any professional, including home improvement stores, will be able to help you understand what is the right R value product for the location you're trying to insulate. So the attic R value will be different than your wall R value, for example. And so the professionals who do these services will be able to get you to your optimal level without making you spend more than you need to. You don't need to go overkill if our climate doesn't call for it. So starting this is either scheduling an energy assessment and figuring out the rebates and who the professional services are, or if you know it's already a need for you, looking in your attic and you're seeing like kind of spot rates really low, you can go to a home improvement store and talk to them about kind of the right levels there. Yeah.
You have commented, people's gas will come out. That, the attic installation is free.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you had that service?
Yeah, they did a lot of installation. I did the basement, then they went up. They didn't go to my, they had to go on the roof.
Okay.
They did the floor.
The blown insulation. Okay. How did it help?
It helped some, I still having problems in the back.
The back. Okay.
On the walls, brick walls.
Okay. Yeah, and that's a good illustrative point that we can do one thing, but we also want to keep working towards finding like tightness in the whole home, right? Because they all relate to each other. So okay, that's good to know that ComEd could potentially have that as a free service.
I had to come out to do an assessment.
Actually,
And they came out and did, each time did certain things. I got products free.
Okay.
And
Excellent. Yeah.
Chicago Bungalow Association do the same thing.
Mhm.
We come out and do all of that.
Good. Yeah.
CEDA does it too.
CEDA.
CEDA.
CEDA's not on our list.
They have a weatherization program.
CEDA's
Just
on
have to do.
resource sheet.
CEDA is on the resource
CEDA,
sheet. We didn't
that's it.
talk about it on the thing, but okay. So there's another one. If any of these are backed up, there's plenty to
It's
try.
only once a year, correct? You only get one assessment per year.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. So another service that you may be looking at is a program with a thermostat. And this works for your home if you can have a thermostat. Doesn't work for every home. But what it is basically any thermostat that can be programmed to switch temperatures for periods of time when you may not be there, or basically just for long periods of time. And the idea behind that is that the less we're moving our thermostat around, the more efficient the use of energy is. So if we can reduce the thermostat